Well, hello there and welcome back to my channel, or of course welcome to my channel if you're new. If you are new, then hello and lovely to meet you. My name is Alex, and if you are new here, make sure you stick around and subscribe. If you're not new and you've been here for a while, then why not make sure the notification bell is switched on just so you're notified of every single time that I upload. Now for today's video, I have a very exciting one because we are going to be testing out all three of the new iHeartRevolution Halloween palettes. On Wednesday, iHeartRevolution released 3 new eyeshadow palettes, which is part of their Halloween palette collection. They have done these style of palettes previously. They did, I think, 2 last Halloween, or it might have been 1, I'm not sure. They released 2 earlier on this year, but then they released 3 brand new ones for Halloween this year. So these are all 3 of the palettes. We've got Hidden Treasure, Ghost Stories and Wishes and Dreams. Basically what today's video is going to be, I've already pre-filmed 2 eye looks which I'll insert in this video. I'll do a review on one of the palettes in this main video here, and then at the end I'll come together and review all 3 of the palettes for you. I just thought this was a slightly easier way to do it because they've released 3 palettes. I've done this style of video a couple of times. And I really hope you enjoy it. So if you want to see my review and eye looks with all 3 of the palettes, then please keep watching. So firstly, we're going to start off with the eye look we are doing today's video on, and that is going to be Wishes and Dreams. And as soon as you see this colour story, you're going to understand why this is the palette I'm using in today's video. So this is what the palette looks like. I absolutely love the packaging, and I'm pretty sure these palettes are £15 each, so you know they're not cheap, guys. They're not cheap. They are a slightly more expensive palette for iHeartRevolution, but I do know of a 20% off discount code, so if you do want to go ahead and purchase any of these or all 3, you can use the code and get some money off. So the packaging on the actual palette is exactly the same. And then the colour story, well, firstly they actually have bits of plastic in it with little, you know those flowers that you blow on and they all fly away? I can't remember what they're called, but that's what they got on them. This is the colour story of the Wishes and Dreams palette. Now, is that not an Alex palette? It's absolutely beautiful. I'll show you this way so you can see it up close. I absolutely love the colours in here. It's absolutely stunning. And then you do get a little mirror in here as well. So we actually have a nice combination of mattes and shimmers. There probably isn't as many mattes as I'd like. There is definitely more shimmers, but there is enough mattes that I can do a really nice eye look with. So this is what the palette looks like. I think this is cruelty free and vegan if I just look on the box. Yep, cruelty free and vegan. I'm pretty sure all 3 of them are. Yep, all 3 of them are, if you are wondering. So this is what the Wishes and Dreams palette looks like. Then we do have the 2 more. We have Hidden Treasure, which is definitely more jewel toned, and then we have Ghost Stories, which is more of a cool toned neutral palette. Let me just quickly show you what these look like. So this is the Hidden Treasure palette. I was going to wait until I did that part of the video, but I feel like you would want to see this now. That has the exact same packaging on the palette. The little sheet has diamonds and stuff on it, and obviously I have played with this, so it is a little bit, you know, mucked about. But this is what the Hidden Treasure palette looks like. So there is definitely a lot of shimmers in here. There's so many. I think there's only 4 mattes in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, this is definitely not my favourite colour story, but I totally get why they've done so many dual toned pans, because it's obviously the Hidden Treasure palette. And then lastly we have the Ghost Stories palette. I love the variation of palettes for this collection. We do have a bit of everything, I feel, which is nice. And again, packaging is the same on the palette. The little plastic sheet has little ghosts on it, and then this one, as I said, is a cool toned neutrally palette, and I feel like this one has a really good amount of mattes in here. This one probably has the most amount of mattes inside, and it's absolutely beautiful. So if you don't like to play with colour, this may be the one for you. So those are a rundown on what all the palettes look like, but firstly let's get into the swatches of the Wishes and Dreams palette. Okay, so these are the swatches for the Wishes and Dreams palette. Now, this is absolutely beautiful. Definitely an Alex palette because it is definitely pink themed. We have a nice variation of pinks. We even have like a darker pink here. We have a neutrally brown in here, and the shimmers are absolutely beautiful. We definitely have a couple of those like more foily ones, and then we have, I think, just some like regular shimmers, but they all seem really pigmented. So I'm actually really impressed with the swatches. So now let's create a look with this. Okay, so I just went and primed my eyes off of camera. I used my Revolution Ultimate Eye Base to do so. Sorry if you can hear my dog barking. And now let's get into the eye look. Okay, I'm going to take this pink here, which is called Sweet Dreams. And I'm going to add this to just my outer corners. Wow, look how pigmented that is. Then I'm going to take this I Heart Revolution brush, part of the gift sets this year. It's like more of the flat packer brush. I didn't tell you what other brush I use. This is the Morphe Jaclyn Hill JH32 brush. And I think I'm going to take Deepest Desires, which is this kind of like brighter neon-y pink. And I'm going to use that to like blend at the very front of my lid and blend at the very top of where I applied that previous shade. I have got a tiny bit of fallout, very tiny amount, but I don't mind because this is so pigmented, it really doesn't bother me. Then I'm going to take the other I Heart Revolution brush from the gift sets this year. It's slightly more fluffy, and I'm going to take the shade Utopia, which is this slightly more muted pink here. I'm going to take a very, very tiny amount of this, not too much, and I'm just going to use that to start buffing out the very top edges. Then I'm just going to take a clean fluffy blending brush. This is a Spectrum B07. I'm just going to use that to buff out the very top edges. With these kind of looks, they kind of just do mesh into one, but I do feel like you can tell the different tones in the pinks, which is good. The other two looks I've done previously, one's a just normal easy look with just a shimmer in the middle. The second one I did was with a shimmer all down the middle and like the two mattes either side. This one I'm going to do a cut crease just so I'm doing like one kind of different type of look for each palette. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera and then I'll be right back. Okay, so these are my half cut creases and they're actually so even. They're almost identical, which is not normally the case. So now we need to pick a shimmer. I'm not gonna lie, there are so many beautiful shimmer options in this palette, but I almost feel like going like cool tone today. Like we're gonna take the Make a Wish shade, which is this one here, taking it on my Jaclyn Hill JH41 brush, and it's actually picked it up really nicely. And we're gonna plop this, plop, what a word. I'm going to put this all over the cut crease. Okay, so this is the shade on my lid. It's absolutely pigmented. This brush works really well for picking it up and applying. When you apply it, it is a little bit dry, but still so pigmented, like so reflective. I love it. And I did have a lot of fallout. It might have been because this shade is slightly more fluffy, but just be a bit wary of that. So now we're going to pick a more pink shimmer to blend out into the outer edges. I think I'm going to take Illusion, which is this one here, and I'm just going to blend that at the outer edges into the pink outer corner. Okay, so these are the lids done. Now for the lower lash line, I'm going to take Infinity, which is, this is quite a purpley toned neutral. And I'm taking that on a Morphe, this is not Morphe, these are Real Techniques shading brush. And I'm going to put that like all the way across. Okay, and then for my inner corners and brow bone, I'm going to take this shade here, which is called Wishes. It's super pretty. It's almost got like a reflect to it, like a icy pinky reflect. I don't know. Okay, so this is my completed look and I absolutely love it. I'm now just going to hop off camera, put my mascara, lashes and lipstick on. Then I'll be right back and we can get on into the next palette. Okay, I'm back and I just realised I've been telling you the wrong price of these palettes. So they're actually £12 each. So they're not as expensive as, say, like the Disney Princess palettes, but they're also not the most affordable I Heart Revolution palettes. So yeah, they're £12, not £15. I will correct myself when I edit, but yeah, how annoying am I? So this is my completed look for the Dreams and Wishes palette. For my mascara, I used my Maybelline Sky High, which is the same one I used for my other two looks. And my lashes are the Unicorn Cosmetics and Peachy Pie lashes. For my lips, I have a combination that I discovered yesterday. This is the Huda Beauty Lip Contour Lip Liner in Pinky Brown. Got this in the Glossy Box and Huda Box and it is absolutely unreal. These lip liners are so beautiful, so creamy, so pigmented. They're just really expensive. They're like £17 each. And then bringing out a absolute classic. This is Pillow Talk by Charlotte Tilbury. I absolutely love this colour. It's just absolutely beautiful. And this is my completed look. So we've completed Wishes and Dreams. Let's move on to the next one. So now let's move on to Ghost Stories. As I showed you earlier, this one is definitely more of the everyday cool toned neutral eyeshadow palette. I actually think it's a really beautiful palette. So let's get into the swatches and then I can show you the eye look that I created. Okay, so these are all the swatches for the Ghost Stories palette. This is very, very nice. This is definitely a more cool toned neutral palette with pops of blue and purple. The mattes in here are okay. They're not as good as the Wishes and Dreams palette. I feel like the darker shades, especially like this one, was really dry in the pan and hard for me to swatch. But the shimmers were absolutely beautiful. Believe it or not, this is actually a shade here. It's very, very light. It's kind of just like a nudie green shade, but very, very fair. There's also these two fair shades in here, which I feel like they could have maybe switched up and put like another neutral in here or something. But overall, I actually think the colour story is quite pretty. So let's get into it. Okay, so I'm using the Ultimate Eye Base again, and I've just applied that all over the lid. Then I'm taking shadows, and I'm putting that all in my crease. Sorry, this is not the best quality. Then I'm taking Deception, and I'm just using that to blend out the top edges. Then I'm going back in with the first brush that I used and using that to blend that out as well. Then I'm taking this grey shade called Appear, and I'm just basically adding that all the way in my crease. Then I'm taking Apparition, I think, no idea, and blending that out. Then using a clean fluffy blending brush at the very top edges. Next I'm taking Lights Out, and I'm applying that in my inner and outer corners. Then I'm taking this beautiful shimmer called Graveyard, and I'm using my finger and just placing that all over the lid. Then I'm taking Sinister, and I'm putting that all the way on my lower lash line. Then I'm taking Whispers, and I'm applying that to my inner corner and my brow bone. So this is what the look is looking like, and then boom. There are the lashes. I'm using Maybelline Sky High and the Roxy lashes. Okay, now you've seen the Ghost Stories eye look, and now it's time to move on to the last palette in this little collection, which is the Hidden Treasure palette. This is what the packaging looks like again, and the colour story, as I said earlier, very shimmer heavy. There's literally only 4 mattes in this entire palette, but because it's like the Hidden Treasure palette, I feel like I can slightly forgive it because these jewel tones are absolutely beautiful. Like, I had to use this green in my eye look because it is so stunning. I love the shimmers in here. I think they're so beautiful. So let's get into the swatches and then I can show you the look that I created with it. Okay, so these are the swatches for the Hidden Treasure palette. Definitely shimmer heavy, but so beautiful. I think the swatches are absolutely amazing, and if you love your shimmer and shimmer palettes, you're definitely going to love this one the most out of all three, because look how beautiful the shades are in this palette. I love the variety in here. You've got pops of green, you've got pink, you've purple, golds, bronzy tones. It is just very nice, and you can definitely create a looks or a couple of looks out of this palette despite there being such a lack of mattes in here. These are the three at the end, and then you also do have your purple one here, but for me this isn't my favourite just because of how shimmer heavy it is. But let's get into the eye look and I'll show you what I created with it. Okay, so firstly I'm taking the Ultimate Eye Base and I put that all over the lid. Then I'm taking the shade Treasure Chest and I'm just applying that all at the inner and outer corner, and then I'm taking Heirloom no idea how to pronounce that, and blending that out and going back in with that first brush. Then I'm taking Emeralds and placing that all through the middle of the lid. It looks absolutely stunning. Then I'm taking Treasure Chest again and I'm putting that all the way across my lower lash line. Then I'm taking Gold Coins and putting that in my inner corner and brow bone. And that is the completed look. Boom, that is with lashes and mascara. I used the Maybelline Sky High and Roxy lashes. Okay, so those are all three of the palettes. Those are the swatches and also the eye looks. And now we can sit down and discuss my final thoughts on all of them. So firstly, the Wishes and Dreams palette. This is without a doubt my favourite palette in the whole collection. That's why I wanted to do the main video like on this palette. I do love the packaging of all three of these, like this whole collection. I think it's super funky, something a bit different for the Halloween like season. And yeah, the colour story is just absolutely beautiful. If you love your pink eyeshadow, you are going to love this, and this is going to be your favourite one as well. I feel like it has a very nice variety of mattes and shimmers in here. You've got different depths and tones of pink, and you've also got different kinds of shades of shimmers. You've got gold, you've got pinks, you've got bronzy tones, you've got like icy shades like duochromes. This overall without a doubt is my favourite one out of all three, and I really recommend this palette. I think the quality is really good, and yeah, absolute favourite of mine. The second palette I did was the Ghost Stories palette. Now this is definitely for someone who doesn't like to play with colour a lot, someone who just wants something for the everyday, very cool toned neutrals, which is nice to see. Normally it's a lot of warm tones and bronzy tones, whereas this one is definitely nice and cool tones. You've got a couple of darker mattes in here, very like grey tone neutrals as well, which is nice to see. I feel like you don't see a lot of that anymore. Again, the quality is really good, I think. Just the swatches were a little bit dry, but they applied really nicely and pigmented on my eyes. So I am going to recommend this one as well, just because I feel like this one is definitely more for someone who likes the like everyday neutrals kind of look. And I think it's really nice and pigmented. And then lastly, the Hidden Treasure palette. Yes, it's got a crap ton of shimmers in it, which is not, you know, my type of thing. However, I feel like for the theme of the palette it fits in really well. The shimmers are so beautiful, really good quality shimmers, and I love the different tones in here. It's such a pretty palette, and I did like the look that I created with it. So, you know, I'm going to recommend this one as well. Recommend all three because they are good quality palettes. For £12, I think you can get some really nice looks out of them. This one is just my least favourite because the amount of shimmers in it. So just to like round up all of my thoughts and opinions, I think this is a really nice collection by iHeart Revolution. This collection, like in general, like all of the palettes in this range, are super good quality and at really good value for money. So if any of these like colour stories are speaking to you, definitely recommend picking it up because, as I said, quality is really good. You get a mirror in there. I feel like you get a nice variety with this palette. It's like not two of them are the same, like they're all completely different colour stories. I feel like previously they've done like a greeny blue palette, they've done a purple palette, so I feel like these are nice additions to that already existing range. So I'm very impressed with them, and I would love to know what you think. I'd love to know what you think of the looks I created with these, your thoughts in general about the palettes. Would you pick them up? up, would you not? I'd love to know down below. So I'm going to round this video up here. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please let me know by smashing the thumbs up button. And of course, if you haven't already, please subscribe down below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.